Krishna book, Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the Womb. In the womb. Chapter 2. Krishna book, Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the Womb. They are praying, offering their prayers. O self-illuminated one, the great saintly persons who have crossed over this ocean of nescience by the help of the transcendental boat of your lotus feet have not taken away that boat. And we read that part, didn't we? That's a nice part though. It's still lying on this side. The demigods are using a nice simile here. If one takes a boat across a river, the boat also goes with one to the other side of the river. And so when one reaches the destination, how can the same boat be available to those who are still on the other side? To answer this difficulty, the demigods say that in their prayer that the boat is not taken away. The devotees still remaining on the other side are able to pass over the ocean of material nature because the pure devotees do not take the boat with them when they cross over. When one simply approaches the boat, the whole ocean of material nescience is reduced to the size of water in a calf's hoofprint. Therefore, the devotees do not need to take a boat to the other side. They simply cross the ocean immediately. Because the great saintly persons are compassionate towards all conditioned souls, the boat is still lying on at the lotus feet of the Lord. One can meditate upon his feet at any time, and by so doing, one can cross over the great ocean of material existence. Meditation means concentration upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Lotus feet indicate the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are impersonalists do not recognize the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore their object of meditation is something impersonal. The demigods express their mature verdict that persons who are interested in meditating on something void or impersonal cannot cross over that ocean of nescience. Such persons are simply imagining that they have become liberated. O lotus-eyed Lord, their intelligence is contaminated because they fail to meditate upon the lotus feet of your Lordship. As a result of the neglectful activity, the impersonalists fall down again into the material way of conditioned life, although they may temporarily rise up to the point of impersonal realization. Impersonalists, after undergoing severe austerities and penances, merge themselves into the Brahman effulgence or impersonal Brahman existence. But their minds are not free from material contamination, and they have simply tried to negate the material ways of thinking. That does not mean that they have become liberated, and thus they fall down. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the impersonalist has to undergo great tribulation in realizing the ultimate goal. At the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also stated that without devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve liberation from the bondage of fruitive activities. The statement of Lord Krishna is there in the Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam. The statement of the great sage Narada is there, and here also the demigods confirm it. Quote, persons who have not taken true devotional service are understood to have come short of the ultimate purpose of knowledge and are not favored by your grace. Unquote. The impersonalists may think that they are liberated, but actually they have no feeling for the personality of Godhead. They think that when Krishna comes into the material world, he accepts a material body. They therefore overlook the transcendental body of Krishna. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, avajananti mam mudha. In spite of conquering material lust and rising up to the point of liberation, the impersonalist falls down again. If they are engaged just in knowing things for the sake of knowledge and do not take to devotional service of the Lord, but they cannot achieve the desired result. There are persons like that, you know. They just like to accumulate lots of knowledge, and it impresses a lot of people, and they think that this person must be liberated. He just knows so much, knows so many shastras, he knows so many verses. He must be liberated. So they let people think that way because they like to kind of think that way too. Because anyone who actually takes the time to learn all of that scripture, they must have some sincerity to be able to to have that much determination to gather that much knowledge. They're big brain, they have a pretty big brain, and they can accommodate so much knowledge, and then people think this person, must be liberated. But not necessarily so. Liberation only comes from the mercy of Krishna. Krishna has to give that liberation. It's not something you achieve by acquiring knowledge. You can acquire so much knowledge. Look at the example of Lord Chaitanya and the illiterate Brahmana who was just leaping to the pages of Bhagavad Gita, and he was crying, and he was having ecstatic symptoms right in front of Lord Chaitanya, because Lord Chaitanya asked him, why are you feeling this way? He says, I am just thinking how Krishna has taken the part of chariot driver of Arjuna. Krishna's driving Arjuna's chariot, and it makes me feel wonderful to understand that. That's all you have to know. You don't have to know a lot of other things. You have to know that simple thing that Krishna serves his devotees. He loves to serve his devotees. He's very humble, actually, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But clearly, it's not a matter of knowledge accumulation. If they are engaged just in knowing things for the sake of knowledge and do not take to the devotional service, they cannot achieve the desired result. Their achievement is the trouble they take, and that is all. It is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita that to realize Brahman identification is not all. Brahman identification may help one become joyful without material attachment or detachment, and to achieve the platform of equanimity. But after this stage, one has to take to devotional service. See, that comes along automatically with devotional service and the mercy of Krishna, liberated stage, where one feels completely happy and ecstatically happy, and sees the oneness and the purpose and the purity in everything. Situated and one becomes situated that way by the mercy of Krishna. Brahman identification may help become joyful. When one takes to devotional service after being elevated to the platform of Brahman, he is then admitted into the spiritual kingdom for permanent residence in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the result of devotional service. Those who are devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead never fall down like the impersonalists. Even if the devotees fall down, they remain affectionately attached to their lordship. They never fall down. Even if they do fall down, they can meet all kinds of obstacles on the path of devotional service freely without any fear, and they can surmount such obstacles. Because of their surrender, they are certain that Krishna will always protect them, as it is promised by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Quote, my devotees are never vanquished. And the demigods continue, our dear Lord, you have appeared in your original, unalloyed form, the eternal form of goodness, for the welfare of all living entities within this material world. Taking advantage of your appearance, all of them can now very easily understand the nature and the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons who belong to the 4 divisions of social orders, the brahmacharis, grihastas, vanaprasthas, and sannyas, can all take advantage of your appearance. To continue, dear Lord, husband of the goddess of fortune, devotees who are dovetailed in your service do not fall down from their high position like the impersonalists. Being protected by you, the devotees are able to traverse over all the heads of many of Maya's commanders-in-chief, who can always put stumbling blocks on the path of liberation. My dear Lord, you appear in your transcendental form for the benefit of the living entities, so that they can see you face to face. Again, so they can see you face to face and offer their worshipful sacrifices by ritualistic performance of the Vedas and mystic meditations and devotional service as recommended in the scriptures. Dear Lord, if you did not appear in your eternal transcendental form, full of bliss and knowledge, which can eradicate all kinds of speculative ignorance about your position, then all people would simply speculate about you according to their respective modes of material nature. Unquote. And back to Prabhupada. The appearance of Krishna is the answer to all imaginary iconography of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone imagines the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to his mode of material nature. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is the oldest person. Therefore, a section of religionists imagine that God must be very old, and therefore they depict the form of the Lord like a very old man. But in the same Brahma Samhita, that is contradicted. Although he is the oldest of all living entities, he has his eternal form of fresh youth. The exact words used in this connection in the Srimad Bhagavatam are Vijnanam, Ajnanabid, Apamarjanam. Vijnanam means transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Personality. Vijnanam is also experienced knowledge. Transcendental knowledge has to be accepted by the descending process of disciplic succession as Brahma presents the knowledge of Krishna in the Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita is Vijnanam, as realized by Brahma's transcendental experience, and in that way he presents the form and the pastimes of Krishna in this transcendental abode. Ajnanabid means that which can match all kinds of speculation. In ignorance, people are imagining the form of the Lord, and sometimes he has no form, and sometimes he has form, according to their different imaginations. But the presentation of Krishna in the Brahma Samhita is Vijnanam, is scientific, experienced knowledge given by Lord Brahma and accepted by Lord Chaitanya. There is no doubt about it. Krishna's form, Sri Krishna's form, Sri Krishna's flute, Krishna's color, everything is reality. Here it is said that Vijnanam is always defeating all kinds of speculative knowledge. Quote, therefore, without your appearing as Krishna, as you are, neither Ajnanabid, nescience of speculative knowledge, nor Vijnanam would be realized. By your appearance, the speculative knowledge of ignorance will be vanquished, and the real experience knowledge of authorities like Lord Brahma will be established. Men influenced by the three modes of material nature imagine their own God according to the modes of material nature. In this way, God is presented in various ways, but your appearance will establish what the real form of God is. Unquote. The highest, this is Prabhupada, the highest blunder committed by the impersonalist is to think that when the incarnation of God comes, he accepts the form of matter in the modes of goodness. Actually, the form of Krishna, or Narayan, is transcendental to any material idea. Even the great impersonalist Shankaracharya has admitted that Narayana paro vyaktat, the material creation, is caused by the avyaktat, impersonal manifestation of matter, and the non-phenomenal total reservation of matter, and Krishna is transcendental to that material conception. That is expressed in Srimad Bhagavatam as Shuddha Sattva, or transcendental. He does not belong to the material mode of goodness, and he is above the position of material goodness. He belongs to the transcendental eternal status of bliss and knowledge. One more paragraph. Quote, my dear Lord, when you appear in your different incarnations, you take different names and forms according to different situations. Lord Krishna is your name because you are all attractive. You are called Shama Sundar because of your transcendental beauty. Shama means blackish, yet they say that you are more beautiful than thousands of cupids. Kandapa Koti Kamanaya. Although you appear in a color which is compared to the blackish cloud, because you are transcendental absolute, your beauty is many, many times more attractive than the delicate body of Cupid. Sometimes you are called Giridhari because you lifted the hill known as Govardhan, and you are sometimes called Nanda Nandana or Vasudev or Devaki Nandana because you appear as the son of Nanda or Devaki or Vasudev. Impersonalists think that your many names or forms are according to a particular type of work or quality because they accept you from the position of material observer. One more. Our dear Lord, the way of understanding is not to study your absolute nature, form, and activities by mental speculation. One must engage himself in devotional service. Then one can understand your absolute nature, your transcendental form, your name and quality. Actually, only a person who has a little taste for the service of your lotus feet can understand your transcendental nature or form and qualities. Others may go on speculating for millions of years, but it is not possible for them to understand even a single part of your actual position." Unquote. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna cannot be understood by the non-devotees because there is a curtain of Yogamaya which covers Krishna's actual features, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Naham prakasha sarvasa. The Lord says, I am not exposed to anyone and everyone. When Krishna came, he was actually present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and everyone saw him. But not everyone could understand that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still, everyone who died in his presence attained complete liberation from material bondage and was transferred to the spiritual world. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nice. So much information. Hare Krishna.